Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.wordpress.com, back again here with another Ferrero Friday project, and this time it's a fold flat box for a larger number of Ferreros, given that it's coming up to Christmas, and this holds 4 Ferreros or something else. It's quite a nice size box. So it's covered up by a sleeve, which you can see there, and this is using the lovely dies that we've got in the catalogue, which are the cheerful tags thin knits. They are so useful for any occasion, and there's a bottle tag in there, so it goes over the top of a bottle. There's some little accents and embellishments, as well as some little tiny tags, as well as this large tag I've got here. So that's what I'm using, along with the tin of tags stamp set here. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. Which again has got lovely super Christmas sentiments, nice accents, and a snowflake as well, which I'm going to use for a card on my new series starting soon. So back to the box. Off comes the belly band. Open up the box, and as you can see, it holds 4 Ferrero Rocher, and it's fold flat, not because it folds flat once it's made, but because you can fold it flat before and keep it flat before you need to use it. So you'll see that it's a diagonal score line and folded in there, so that actually folds down, and it's only when you come to make up the box that you glue it in place at the end. So we're going to do one exactly the same as this, only instead on this one you might see that I've used stamp and stick and some glitter, which has had some success. I quite like the stuff effect. I've used some delightful Dijon as well, but I'm going to do it with gold embossing powder, because I think with a box that might be moved about a bit, it's probably more robust in terms of getting that nice gold finish. So to start off with, you are going to need a piece of, I've used Emerald Envy cardstock, which is 8.5 by 6.5 inches. Which is 21.5 by 17 centimetres, and you are going to score the long edge at, I hope you can see that, there we go. So line it up at 1.5, 2 7/8, 5 5/8, 7 inches, and that is 4, 7.5, 14.5 and 18 centimetres. You're then going to turn it through 90 degrees and score the short edge at 1/2 inch, so we're going to do that on the right hand side here, at 1 7/8, at 4 5/8, and at 6 inches. And that is 1.5, 5, 12 and 15.5 centimetres. I'm going to leave my scoreboard here because we are going to need that again, but the first thing you need to do is cut away the 3 outer squares on each side, on each corner I should say. So just come in with your paper snips and snip those away. So again, gone a bit quiet there, sorry, I was miles away. I was thinking about the light not being terribly good in here because it is winter here in the UK, and unfortunately, although my desk is next to a window, I can't actually put it so it's facing the window, so I'm having to use, even in daylight, artificial light as well, so it's not quite as bright as I might like it. But I was thinking about the fact I'm going to have a she shed at some point, hopefully next spring, which is going to be big enough for me to hold classes at home rather than having to find an external venue, which I do at the moment. Yeah, that's going to be rather exciting, and that will have hopefully better natural light. So as you can see, we've cut away the outer 3 squares on all 4 corners. Now because this is a square in the middle, we're now going to line up these 2 points with the groove here, and you're just going to score that top and bottom square on the diagonal. Repeat it on the other side. This is why obviously I kept my scoreboard out. because it just makes it easier to line up rather than once you cut the squares away. Okay, so once you've done that, now you can put that away for the moment. We'll need it again to our belly band. So now we want to fold and burnish all of these creases. So just come in with your bone folder, very quick and easy. And then you're going to fold these creases. Now what I do is I fold them out first and put the crease, because that's where we've stretched the cardstock by putting our score line. So it's better to score it and fold it with the line that we've put, the score mark we put in, and then fold them in. So all you do then is just fold those back on themselves, and if you fold it, I think you can see that, fold it up like so into where it's going to be, and come in with your bone folder, it will make a nice crisp crease. So again, just in there with our bone folder. So there's our basic box. So what we're going to do is actually glue these triangles here. Now I would recommend you use wet glue for that, just because it's obviously going to keep it nice and secure for you, but it does take a little bit longer obviously to dry. So I'm just going to come in with a bit of tape here. As I say, if you're going to use it straight away, then you use whatever glue suits you. If you're going to store it for later use, then you will want to use some kind of tape. So our tear and tape, or if you have red tape about, that's fine as well. So 4 pieces, burnish those down so that when you're on camera you can lift them up easily. There we go. Okay, so those 4 pieces. Fold those down. And that's how you can store your box. So if you're making them for a future event, or for, just to have it on standby. And then we're going to put some more tape on here so that you can make it up when you want. Or obviously in my case, I shall show you how it's made up right now. So again, I'm putting this on the edge. I'm actually going to put it on the top edge. It doesn't matter if you put it on the top or the side edge actually. Whichever suits, and if you're putting a square in then it certainly doesn't matter, as long as you make sure it goes in the outside corner, like so. Okay, so once you put your glue in place, or you've added your tape, then just go around. When you're ready to use it, go round, lift up and get rid of your tape. And then all you do is pull that up from the middle and press those to the side, like so. Okay, so your box then folds to close, and all we need to do now is get our belly band. So as you can see, 4 Ferrero Rocher fit perfectly in there, and this is so much nicer. You can get little packs of 4 Ferrero. I've lost my 4th Ferrero. The 4th Ferrero has made a run for it, but I have retrieved it. Okay. You get them in like a long, skinny packet, which is functional, but it isn't very pretty. And this looks so much nicer. Look at that, 4 little gold balls. Fold that closed, and then you need a piece of designer series paper and your scoreboard or your trimmer again. And this piece is 2 3/4 inches by 9 1/4 inches, and you're going to score along the length of it. So at 1 inch, at 2 1/2 inches, at can't spot, at 5 1/4 and 6 3/4, so it avoids those horrible ones. Okay, and that is in terms of centimetres, 2.5, 6.4, 13.3 and 16.2. Once you've done that, just fold those by hand to make your belly band. Okay, and if you bring your box in, what I like to do with this is, you'll see that one piece is larger than the other, and that's the piece that I'm going to put some tape onto, or some snail. So it's just DSP, so we can just pop a strip of snail or a couple of pieces of snail there. And then what I like to do is pop that on, and you'll find that, there you go, one way fits better than the other. Fold it around, and don't pull it too tight, but just gently close it. And there's our basic box with our belly band with just a nice little border either side. We're now going to make our tag. And the tag is, as I said, using the Cheerful Tags Thinlits. So if you die cut a tag here from the Emerald Envy cardstock, which you can just fold, and then you're going to cut a piece of card to go inside that. And I've just used the corner rounder to match the rounded corners on the tag. When you've got rounded edges on one, I always like to make it just look that little bit better. So again, you can just pop that in there with a bit of snail and just centre that like so. And then the front piece, I've actually cut a piece of card which is 2 by 2.5 inches, and you're going to put this tag across the short edge, you see, just there. So you'll need a magnetic plate or a bit of washi tape, and you're going to line that up. I'm not going to show you me die cutting, not least of all because it means moving my machine. So all I'm doing is just literally, as I've just shown you, putting that die in place on the cardstock, and then rolling that through, and you end up with a piece like so, that you then trim that outer edge. And you see just that up there, you're cutting just down to the first corner, and then again corner rounding that, and that's going to sit on the top here. And then just, you can see you've got the nice echoing of the shape. So now we're going to do some stamping. Tin of tag set, Versamark ink, so all over, make sure you've got plenty of Versamark on there. Before you do that, before you stamp it, embossing buddy on the cardstock, and then just by eye spread some Christmas cheer. And all I'm going to do now is use some gold embossing powder, putting my Versamark away, which looks like it needs replacing, it's starting to look a little bit grubby. Okay. So there we go, there's our now you know me on camera, my embossing powders and glitter really don't get on camera. Today, perhaps not quite such a bad day, but I will put the lid on that, because you can guarantee what will happen next is that I will spill it everywhere. And then use your heat gun to come in, and this is where the magic happens. I mean, I still love to see what happens when you emboss, because you start off with something that looks quite dull, and then all of a sudden, as the heat gun works its magic, you go from a dull finish to that gorgeous gold sparkle. You'll notice that I'm heating from underneath. I generally heat from underneath. It was something that I was taught when I started crafting years ago, that you tend to get a better finish, and don't be tempted to stop to move your heat gun as soon as it has done. Just keep it on for a few seconds longer, so that it really does spread but not too long so that it starts to burn and sort of pit. Again, that's the beauty of doing it from underneath. So move that out of the way. There we go, there's our tag. Pop that on with some glue. You could lift it up and pop it on with dimensionals if you wanted to. And then just line that up so you can still see the hole there. And all we need to do is bring in it's about 14 inches of the taffeta ribbon, and I literally have just put that from the top through there, so through the top of the tag, and then I have tied it to the front, and I've put just a couple of dimensionals either side. You don't have to use dimensionals, you can glue either side, but I found it lifted up a little bit, so I find if I just put one either side of that, you can layer, pop your tag in the middle there, and it gives you a little channel for your ribbon. So get it so that it's nice and even, and then tie a knot, keeping your ribbon flat. So left over right, right over left. There we go. Give that a bit of a tweak. Then come in and trim those down to where you want them. And there we go. Here's your lovely Ferrero Rocher box that can fold flat for storage in advance with some Christmas cheer. Lovely gift box you could use for any occasion actually, and I will probably remake this in a variety of sizes for other gifts that you might want to be giving at this time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you need any of the supplies, don't hesitate to contact me or go to my online store. Details are in the description bar below, and have a good Ferrero Friday. Bye for now.